Have you ever made a life-changing breakthrough in therapy that you deeply regret? My therapist, Dr. Angela, said we'd finally cracked it after 8 months of sessions. I'd spent most of my life with this gap in my memories. Ages 7 to 9 were just blank, like someone had erased a hard drive. My parents always said I was just forgetful, that nothing important happened during those years. But the nightmares suggested otherwise. The panic attacks suggested otherwise. So I started therapy, and last Tuesday, during EMDR treatment, everything came flooding back. Clear as day, vivid, real. I left her office feeling lighter than I had in years, like I'd finally found a missing piece of myself. I called my mom from the parking lot to tell her about the breakthrough, that I'd finally remembered what happened when I was 8. There was this long silence on the phone. Then she said, "That's wonderful, honey," in a voice that sounded anything but wonderful. She said she had to go and hung up before I could tell her any details. I thought it was weird, but didn't think much of it until I got home and my husband Marcus asked how therapy went. I started explaining about the recovered memory, and he got this strange look on his face. He said he was happy for me, but he suddenly remembered he had to run to the hardware store at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. That's when I started noticing things. My sister Jenna, who texts me 50 times a day, suddenly went radio silent. My dad didn't return my calls for 3 days straight. When I stopped by my parents' house that weekend, my mom was jumpy and kept checking her phone. She made an excuse about having a headache and asked me to leave after only 20 minutes. I asked if something was wrong and she insisted everything was fine, but she wouldn't look at me when she said it. The family group chat that was usually buzzing with activity went completely dead after I mentioned in passing that therapy was going really well. My brother Tyler, who I'm close with, sent me a private message saying we should take a break from talking for a while. No explanation, just that he needed space. I drove to his apartment and he wouldn't let me inside. Stood in the doorway like he was blocking me from entering. His eyes kept darting behind me like he thought someone might be watching. Marcus started acting different too. He'd get quiet when I talked about my memories, changing the subject or suddenly remembering work he had to do. I caught him on the phone late one night speaking in hushed tones, and when I asked who it was, he said it was about a work project, but I heard him say my name, and I heard him say we have to do something. Then I noticed photos were missing. The family picture from my 8th birthday that used to hang in the hallway at my parents' house was gone. When I asked my mom about it, she said she was redecorating and must have packed it away, but there was a nail hole where it had been. Fresh paint around the edges like she'd just removed it. I started checking other places and found more missing photos from that same time period. My elementary school picture from 2nd grade that used to be on mom's desk, gone. The photo album from our beach trip when I was 8. The whole album had vanished from the bookshelf. My Aunt Carol, who I'd always been close with, stopped responding to my messages entirely. When I showed up at her work, she looked terrified to see me. She said she couldn't talk to me right now and practically ran back inside. I asked my cousin Hannah if something was going on with the family. She said she didn't know what I was talking about, but her voice was shaking when she said it. Last night I was going through old boxes in our garage looking for anything from that time period. I found a newspaper clipping from July 1998 that I don't remember seeing before. A story about a little girl who went missing from our neighborhood that summer. She was never found. Her name was Sophie, and I remembered playing with a girl named Sophie. Right before my memory goes blank, I called Dr. Angela and told her I needed an emergency session, that I thought my recovered memory might be connected to something bigger, something my whole family has been hiding. She said to come in first thing tomorrow morning and that we'd work through it together. But when I got home from that call, Marcus was packing a bag. He said he was going to stay with his brother for a few days. I asked him why and his face just crumbled. He looked at me with something that might have been pity or might have been fear. Your family called me. They told me what you remembered. They told me what really happened to that little girl. And that's when I realized the person from my recovered memory wasn't a stranger. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below.